Hi, and welcome to the 2020 Economic Recession and Preparation channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on this weekend edition, the brief weekend edition for August 8th, Saturday, 2020. Well, it looks like everybody wants to get back to life as normal post pre-sickness, but unfortunately, things are not going back to normal for quite some time. The political pundits and financial experts and analysts have warned us that things may not be turned to normal until the first quarter of 2022. But I'm here to tell you something different, to tell you that things are not going to return to normal for the next 10 years because we are going into the greatest depression that the world has ever seen. And this is affecting life as we know it, our daily lives. Particularly today, I want to talk about the school sector, the schools closing, all the way from elementary schools all the way up to colleges and universities, and that effect on the economy, as well as Walt Disney World stock falls this week by more than 12%, and this effect on Americans' leisure activities. This is an article from NBCNews.com. The UN chief, that's the United Nations chief, warns world faces generational catastrophe because of the sickness school closures. As you know, the United States is closing in on 5 million confirmed sickness cases, and that has led to many schools deciding to close and or do virtual only learning, all the way from elementary all the way up to the university students. 1 billion students are left without classrooms in 160 countries across the globe, and 40 million children are missing out on education in that critical preschool to kindergarten year into the first grade year. So, as you know, the question was how and when these schools should reopen. And many states have tried to reopen the schools, and that's part of the new stimulus bills to provide over $100 billion of relief to these schools that do choose to reopen. The problem is that in many of these states that want to reopen these schools, as you know, the sickness cases are rising in these states. And as a result, many teachers are protesting going back into the classroom. And parents are suffering financial strain because now they have to buy more groceries for kids who are at home eating more and using up more of the utilities, internet, cable, phone, and electricity resources as well, further putting a strain on families' budgets. Now, the National Education Administration, the NEA, they already stated that nearly 2 million educational jobs could be lost in this coming school year, starting in September 2020 and going into next year. The nation stands to lose 2 million education jobs over the next 3 years. Another way, we could lose 1/5 of the educational workforce that we currently have in our nation's public schools and higher education institutions. No community would go unaffected. And of course, the looming cuts will disproportionately affect students of color, who's more likely to attend schools that rely on Title I funding. According to the article and according to the National Education Association. So my question is to you, what will we do with our empty schools and university campuses? Will they turn into centers for homelessness or for technology job training? What's going to happen to these empty institutions of learning? Because it's clear that this sickness is not going away in a year or two. This sickness is here for the long term, just like the current flu, which we, by the way, have a vaccine for that's not only 50% effective, it's not 100% effective. What will happen to the 60 million unemployed people we have now and the 2.5 million teachers that are going to be workers? And it's not just the teachers that are unemployed too. Let me go back and just state this. The people that are unemployed in the educational arena are going to be, what about the custodians? Okay, what about the housekeeping? What about the security school resource officers that are going to be unemployed? What about the substitute teachers that rely on that extra income during the summer or during the year? What about the support staff aides in the classrooms? All of those jobs are going to be lost because the American economy cannot recover if its schools cannot reopen, according to the NEA president Lily Eskerson Garcia. Because school funding is slashed and schools can't reopen, even with the virtual learning, they can't make up the property tax revenue the sales tax revenue. So that means cities, counties, states are going to be broke and facing a deficit in their budgets because of this. As you know, this has a domino effect on everything. This sickness pandemic is going to take down not only the school industry, but it's going to take down our economy as a whole, because to have this many people not enter the workforce in a timely fashion, college graduates looking for jobs are not able to find jobs. They're working multiple gig economy jobs because the economy is that bad. We're not creating no new jobs. So those who are getting degrees are essentially not worthless, but they're essentially worth less because the job market is not there to support those with these many degrees that we have in a saturated market, and we're not creating jobs. So we have a major problem. And on top of that, Walt Disney stock fell almost 12% this week. So even students and college students and those going on spring break or summer breaks or even winter breaks, they're not going to go to these leisure places like Walt Disney, Universal Studios, Disneyland in California, or any theme parks because discretionary income is down. And we're going to continue to see Disney World and other major theme parks lose money tremendously. Now, you can expect them to ask for a bailout from the government as well, okay? Because stocks are the only thing deemed too big to fail by the powers that be. So everything is about propping up this artificial injection of stock market money by the Federal Reserve while the real economy decays in all sectors, retail, school, you name it. So this is the thing that we're facing, and you can expect to see the impact of the school jobs, the $2 million school jobs, and state budgets are going to be decimated. You can expect to see that impact coming up in October, just before the elections. This is going to be the cry of the people. What happened to all of the jobs? What happened to educating our kids to be independent thinkers, to be resourceful, to get a job? Now, remember, the Great Recession led to a loss of more than 350,000 educator jobs. That was back in 2008. And now, nearly a decade later, 29 states are still providing less total school funding per student than they were in 2008. So what makes you think this time is going to be any different for the students and for the parents? The numbers are devastating, and this sickness, recession, and depression is going to surpass that of the Great Recession of 2008. So get ready, be prepared. Now, if you have a kid that's at home and doing virtual learning, try to teach them survival skills as well. Try to teach them real world skills that I wish I would have had when I was coming through high school, such as budgeting and finance and how to start a fire, how to grow a garden, how to do basic skills that we're going to need in the very near future in the next 3 to 4 years as this economy goes through a depressionary period before we come out of this thing, which is going to take 10 years, just like Japan's last decade. So stay blessed, my friends. I just wanted to bring you that update this weekend about the schools and how even with the funding, if this bill somehow passed, this miraculous stimulus bill, second stimulus bill passes, it's not going to take away schools closing and states filing for bankruptcy because they can't get money. They're going to be in deficit. The state budgets are going to be deficitated, and they're going to be in a shortfall far worse than that of the Great Recession from 2009 to 2008 recession. So just be prepared, stay focused, continue to stock up on canned goods, water, brass, continue to stock up on silver and gold, continue to stock up on cryptos, and also continue to stock up on items which you think are going to be in short supply. Even simple items like masks might be in short supply. We may not be able to get those. We may not be able to get seeds because food shortages are coming for our kids. So let's stock up on things that really matter and not on things that don't matter at all, such as stocks of these companies that are zombie companies that are way overvalued and are taking our state budgets down along with our schools that we need to educate our kids in the future. Stay blessed. I will continue to bring you updates throughout the weekend, and I'll talk to you very soon.